thinking about thinking is called as metacognition, or knowing about knowing, or learning about learning. This is something that is like, if you have your brain as a processor, you kind of have out of body experience and look at your own brain. You try to observe what processes your brain follows to make decisions, so that you come to know the mistakes and the errors it is performing while it reaches those decisions. And that is what is called as metacognition. For example, if you I'll give you a short example of that. For example, if you can realize that you can memorize one thing better than the other, or if you can see that you are a visual learner, you cannot remember what is told to you in an audio, that means that you are now thinking about thinking. That means that now you can assess or analyze the process your brain is undertaking. That is called as thinking about thinking. And in this session we are going to figure out, is it possible for us to do that? Is it a skill that can be acquired? And if it is, why should we do that? Is it necessary or beneficial for everyone or not? So that's what we are going to do. Okay, who should be concerned about quality of thinking, or for who you would say this talk is beneficial? I would say this talk is beneficial for everyone, because everyone thinks, and everyone has goals and aims that we need to achieve, and thinking is the only tool that will help you to achieve whatever your goals are. For kids, it could be learning or passing your exams. For graduate students, it could be finding a job and doing good at that job. For people who are not doing any sort of job, it would be to be better at their interpersonal relationships and to find maybe meaning of life and be happy in life. So in my experience as a student and as a teacher, I think that this particular skill is not taught in schools or universities, and in my estimate it would be like less than 1% of people have this skill. And that is why I thought it should be we should talk about it, and we should at least start discussing about it and what we can do about that. So I would say that it is for everyone who can understand this talk or understand English. It's good for everyone. Yeah. What is the role of English in development of character? Nothing, absolutely nothing. It is just means of communications, and that's it. आपका जो टारगेट ऑडियंस है, वहाँ तक अगर आपकी बात आपको पहुँचाने के लिए कोई भी लैंग्वेज ज़रूरी है, जितना मराठी ज़रूरी होगा, हिंदी ज़रूरी होगा, उतना इंग्लिश है. There is nothing like English is more important than any other language. But I would say that not because English is English, but I would like to say that, in early developmental ages, it is important for the kid to learn in his mother tongue, whatever his mother tongue is, because he can focus more on learning the concepts rather than being scared of the language and being inhibited or being restricted by how do I translate that and how do I express that to my colleagues or peers or friends or the teacher. So it is important for kids to at least for a few years, early years, it is necessary that they learn the basics of science and everything in their mother tongue. Are there any major disadvantages if we do not pay attention to how we think? Oh boy, there are many. For example, the examples I am going to give are those views are of my own, and that is my personal take. Okay, so for example, homeopathy. You should take homeopathy or not. You should be for organic or for genetically modified foods. If you should vaccinate your kid or you should not. If you should vote a candidate, particular party or not. You should vote based on a candidate or a party. Now in the times of corona, if what is going to have more benefits or disadvantages when it comes to comparing economic disadvantages of the lockdown and the benefits of the lockdown. So you need to be, because these are not you cannot compare these in monetary terms, so you need to figure out how do you do that. So that is on a large scale. As a society, these questions really matter, and even beyond that, for example, complex questions like global warming or climate change or corruption or immigration, how do you tackle these questions? These all are real world questions, and everyone faces these questions, and there is absolutely nothing in our textbooks or in our school system or even in our universities that that would guide us or even help us find a way to tackle these questions. So you can see the disconnect between what we are taught in the school and what kind of questions we face in real life. So in schools, if you can see that, you know, everything is compartmentalized. So from 10 to 10:30 you will learn Marathi, 10:30 to 11 you will learn maths, and then whatever. So in the same manner, when you go to your graduate studies, you take computer science and you do your project only in computer science, that is of code writing. But when you go out of your university, there is nothing that is specific to your expertise, area of expertise. And then when you are faced with complex challenges like that, which would require expertise from n number of fields, you are clueless about how to navigate through that chaos or complexity. So that is why it is important for everyone to think about how to think. And yes, there are major disadvantages like that, and there are personal disadvantages also that maybe I'll talk aage in the session. Yeah. Okay, so focus thinking. Charanjit, can you please make note of what people are asking, so that at the end, without breaking the flow, at the end I'll answer those questions. So yeah, next question, Charanjit, please. Okay. These all seem like larger social problems, and most will agree that everyone is concerned mostly about his own issue. So in that case, why should one be concerned? So you're asking that ये सारे जो बातें मैंने अभी कही थी, ये बहुत सारी ग्लोबल या फिर सोसाइटल बातें हैं, एंड इफ आई एम नॉट कंसर्न्ड अबाउट दैट, which could be one stance, I just want to lead a happy life, which most of you will say that, you know, you are doing pretty good in life, so why should I be concerned about this? So for you guys, I'll give you an example. Have you thought about what was the thought process that went behind when you chose your field of specialization during graduation? What was the process that you went through? What were the factors that affected this decision for you? How did you decide who to marry? How did you decide which car to buy? How did you decide in what locality or in what country do you want to live? So all of these decisions, okay, these were all right and worked out pretty well for you, but I would say, if had you known the process that I'm talking about, that, you know, how to analyze or see how your brain is making these decisions, you could have been better off. That is what I'm saying. You are not doomed right now. If you're not doing it, maybe in your lifetime, if you're lucky, you wouldn't face any major consequences as well, but you will not be able to exploit your full potential if you do not think about thinking. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, like I said, yes, he's asking if I'm doing pretty good till now. Most of you will say the same thing, but I have not been conscious about the thought process that goes behind it. So is it necessary, or can you say that, you know, we haven't made optimal decisions? I would say you could have made better decisions, because I can say that with certainty, because there is science and biology behind that says that our brains are wired to make decisions in a certain way. Our brains are wired not to go to the extent of finding out, say for example, I have to go out to buy a toothpaste, so I am not going to go out and compare all the 1,000 brands of toothpaste that are there to buy one, because the costs of doing that are very high and the benefit of choosing one over the other is very low. So my brain, by my common sense, I'm not going to do that. So I am wired to spend less amount of energy on the decisions that I make, so that I will be able to complete such 1,000 decisions in a day and go through my day seamlessly. So that is why our brain is designed that way. Our brain is designed to take shortcuts to find all right solutions that we can do with, and our brains are not wired to take the long route that it takes for complex problems that we face right now. And I'll tell you the reason why that happens. Why that happens is that Homo sapiens came into existence 200,000 years ago, okay? And even uske bhi pehle, almost 5 to 6 million years ago, हमारा brain apes से अलग होने लगा था, humans का, okay? So इतने सारे साल, इतने मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर्स हमें लगे हमारा ब्रेन के इंस्टिंक्ट्स डेवलप होने में, या फिर रेप्टिलियन ब्रेन को ह्यूमन ब्रेन तक आने में, ओके? सो उसके बाद इवोल्यूशन को इतना जब टाइम लगा है, उसके बाद जो हमारे साथ चीज़ें होने लगी, जो लास्ट 10,000 साल में हम खेती करने लगे, आफ्टर दैट just 200 years ago we started eating गेहूं का आटा. Just 40-80 years ago there was industrial revolution, and just 10-20-30 years ago there was globalization. So compared to the human timeline, whatever the changes that are happening in our life are very fast. So biologically our brain is not ready to cope up with the kind of challenges that we are facing right now. And that is why when we come across such complex questions, our reptilian brain, that is the primary brain, that is that always asks you to take the shortcuts, and most of the times when you are trying to figure out solutions to these complex problems, you will definitely fall in traps, thinking traps. Those are called as logical fallacies or biases while you think. For example, I'll talk about that later. So but that is what you have to keep in mind, and that is why I'm saying that, you know, if you do not consciously try to learn this skill, you will try to take shortcuts or cognitive shortcuts to the complex problems in hand. For example, my brain is only equipped to do 4 things, like that is feeding, reproduction, fighting, and fleeing. So these are the instincts that I work on, and rest of the planning and everything, that is the function of the executive brain that you have to do deliberately. So that's what I'm trying to say, that when I say that yes, you are most probably be doomed, because that is how your brain is wired, and that's why you need to concentrate on thinking about thinking. So yes, Chiranjit, I'm saying that yes, as human beings, we are most probably statistically bound to fail at making good decisions. Next question. Okay, so if the biology says that we have our reptilian brain overrides our executive brain, so what can we do to solve this problem and overcome this issue? So like any other skill, you can develop this skill of thinking, and there are, as Charanjit is asking, there are different types of thinkings, like critical thinking, creative thinking, logical thinking, and he's asking if these terms are used interchangeably for good quality thinking. No, these are different types of thinking, and all of these thinkings are not one is superior to other. All of these thinkings are essential for us to be able to reach a optimum workable solution to a complex problem. So I'll tell you about major thinking types that I think are crucial for everyone to be aware of and to be skilled at. First is critical thinking. That critical thinking का मतलब होता है, you whatever the options in front of you, you should be able to weigh those options and figure out which one is closest to reality or the truth, and then choose whatever gives you the most benefit amongst the available options. Okay, so now creative thinking. Creative thinking is not only about being able to paint or draw or play some instrument. Creative thinking is about, when I told you about critical thinking, it was about choosing amongst the available options. And when I'm talking about creative thinking, I am talking about creating another option that was not there beforehand. So maybe I can think of one idea from one field and then take another idea from another field and come up with something new that was not existing before. That is called as creative thinking. So that is the second type of thinking. Third is systems thinking. Systems thinking is a very popular word these days, because as we are seeing that the complex problems that I was talking about, like poverty, corruption, global climate change, and immigration, all of these problems, we are used to think in terms of things. We develop or design things, like think as a unit. We do not look at that thing's relationship with other things in the environment, and that is why we fail to anticipate what effect it is going to cause on other things, right? So when we develop education system, we develop that as a thing and not as a system. So we did not take into consideration its relationship with other factors, stakeholders, and how changing one aspect is going to result in what effect it is going to cause on other stakeholders. So that is what is I'm talking about when I talk about systems thinking, that we need to design any new thing as a system and not a thing in itself. Are you getting me? Are you on the same page that as I am? So just to simplify that, systems thinking is thinking of the context of the problem as well, looking at the relationship of the issue that you are talking about. So that is the third type of thinking. And the fourth type of thinking, that is, I would say, emotional intelligence, or how to behave in society, or how to empathize with people, how to understand others' point of view. It might sound as a very good thing to do, but rather than good thing to do, it is, I respect that kind of thinking for a very selfish reason, because it makes me a better decision maker. If I can think from your point of view, I do not, for myself I'm talking about, I do not do that because I want to empathize with you. I do that because I want to be able to look at the issue from another perspective that I would maybe that I would not see otherwise. So this again, in Japanese schools you will see that, you know, kids for the till the age of 5, 6, 7, they are not taught anything substantial like science or any other thing. They are taught how to behave in the society, how to live with each other, how to do the basic things in a group together. So that is one thing that again we expect that we will learn by ourselves, and we are not taught formally in our school system. So these are 4 types of thinking: critical, creative, systems, and emotional intelligence, that I think we should work on. Yeah. No, there is one kind of thinking is not superior to another. For example, if I'm only skilled in creative thinking, what will happen is I'm trying to find solution to say poverty. What I'll keep doing is I'll just keep generating more and more and more options, but I will never in depth be able to analyze any one viable or possible solution. So now, to come up with a range of solutions, possible solutions, creative thinking is necessary, but to choose or finalize a few and then compare those in depth, you need critical thinking. And after that, when you find a solution to that, you need to see how that affects the other things or other systems in the ecosystem. So there comes systems thinking. So all of these systems are equally, or all of these thinking types are equally important to come up with a solution that works for these complex problems. Am I making any sense? Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah, CD is saying, what do you say, that maybe that happens to most of creative directors. Yeah, I can I do understand that when I switch on my artistic or, you know, creative side, I stop thinking rationally. So I need to work on that too. Yeah. Yeah, Harry Sandhu, if he's here, like, I don't know if he's here or not. Is there any formal way that these thinking skills are taught? In my opinion, from whatever I have seen, learned, heard, no, these skills are not taught in schools or in universities formally. We just expect that if we give children what to think, for example, history, we give them the knowledge or information about history, we assume that they will be able to process that information and they will know what to do with that information. So no, we are not dealing with this problem at school or university level. Okay, so thinking is something that needs to be included into a person as he or she grows up. Only a thinker or a thinking person, considering most people are just order followers. Maybe I'm out of, no, you are not, you are absolutely not. And that happens because there is no culture of thinking in either schools or in the households or in the society as well. For example, I'll tell you, we value obedience over asking questions or skepticism. We would say a kid is not a good kid if he questions you back. We say a kid is a good kid if he just listens to your orders. And then we complain after 20 years that we have produced a generation of sheeps. So that is what I'm talking about, that it is not only the school's responsibility, because even if say for the best case scenario, even if that is taught in the schools and the kid comes back home and sees that that it is very different from they are taught in the school, that disconnect or that dissonance is not going to result in what we are hoping for. So it has to be a collective effort from the society. It is not going to happen as a planned directive that we shove down the throats of education system or schools or universities from top to down. So that is not going to happen. What we have to do is we have to go from bottom to up. What I mean by bottom to up is, in the schools, in even without government directives or education departments directives, we need to start figuring out how to give kids these assignments, how to make them feel comfortable with failing. And I'm talking about these adjectives. These are not just these words, I'm not pulling these out of thin air, but these are the basic necessities or prerequisites for a thinking mind. What are those? I will tell you about that one is ability to accept failure. Second is risk taking, and risk taking will happen only when failure is accepted in the society. Third thing is, we are always told to focus on one thing. A brain that is specialized in one thing is not equipped to handle a complex problem. It's okay to specialize, but you also have to have at least some knowledge of 100 different things that are of interest to you. So these are the ways that we can see that we want a generation which is able to think, but at the same time we are not doing what it takes to nurture such a generation or nurture kids who are thinkers. So I hope I answer that question, Xerxes. Yeah, in education circle, that is one way. But for example, I would and I think that is a very you can say optimal way to do that, but that focusing only on that is not going to help. What can we as individuals do in this regard? Yes, as individuals, you can start thinking about whatever you are thinking, why you're thinking that. For example, if the coronavirus, if you feel that it is a conspiracy, you need to be able to ask, like that out of body experience that I told you in the beginning, that you need to be able to ask yourself, why have you chosen to believe that theory more than the simplistic or the simplest explanation. You need to be able to figure out why I trust this more than I trust that. You need to figure out why do I like a particular value better than the other. For example, why I have respect for belief, why I do not have respect for skepticism, why I hold faith in high regard, and why a person that always keeps doubting stuff, why do I not respect that person. So it starts from the individual, that what values you uphold, and we need to go back to thinking about those values, and as families and societies we need to start discussing these, that these are not virtues, these are not some things that we should teach our children to be going after. So I think as an individual, that if you do that, you will automatically become a responsible citizen, and then we all can become a responsible democracy. And I worry about democracy, or I am concerned about it, is because ultimately majority is going to decide what is going to happen under a democracy. And if there are majority of fools out there who cannot think, it is going to affect my future and future of those who can think but are in minority. So that is why I think that we should start thinking about thinking. Yeah. Next question. Yeah, what can we as parents and teachers do to promote use of good quality thinking? Parents and teachers, that's a good question. I have a huge list of the to-do things for teachers and parents and influential figures for children. For example, I'll give you, कोई भी चीज़ अगर हमें इंट्रोड्यूस करनी है तो हम उन्हें वो पता चली है या नहीं, या समझी है या नहीं, ये कैसे पता करते हैं? हम उन्हें उसका डेफिनेशन पूछते हैं. ओके, टेल मी हाउ डू यू डिफाइन दैट. फॉर एग्जांपल, ग्लोबल चेंज, ग्लोबल क्लाइमेट चेंज और क्लाइमेट चेंज, कैन यू डिफाइन दैट फॉर मी? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन वुड बी, व्हाट आर द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ इट, व्हाट आर द कॉजेस ऑफ इट? सो दीज आर द क्वेश्चंस वी जज द नॉलेज बेस्ड ऑन, जस्ट थिंकिंग बेस्ड ऑन. थिंकिंग में हम सिर्फ मेमोराइजेशन का पार्ट देख रहे हैं. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग पेरेंट्स एंड टीचर्स should start doing is ask open-ended questions. Do not ask questions that have a definite answer. There are, like, for example, a question would be, tell me 3 causes of global warming. You are supposed to ask, what do you think global warming what do you think about global warming, and why do you think that people think it's a bad thing to do? So there is no right or wrong answer to that. So that will do is that will make the kid to resort to higher order thinking. Thinking के भी levels होते हैं. Information को सिर्फ recall करना is a very low order skill. For him to be a thinker, he has to go to higher order thinking skills, जिसमें उसे चीज़ों को contrast करना आना चाहिए. ये चीज़ उस दूसरी चीज़ से क्यों अलग है तो वो अच्छी दोनों में से कौन सी है और क्यों है, मुझे उसे फैक्ट्स के साथ जस्टिफाई करना आना चाहिए. एंड दैट हैपन्स ओनली व्हेन यू आस्क ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस टू किड्स. सो दैट इज वन थिंग. सेकंड इज, we never expose them to uncertainty. Okay, so in schools everything is certain. Everything is given with instructions. Even if you sorry even if you look at the games that you buy for your kids, Lego and any other Meccano or any game, that comes with an instruction manual and it shows them how to build this thing, and all they have to do is just follow the instructions and build that stuff by himself. He is not allowed to think of something new that does not, suppose instead of telling him that build a car, you can tell him build a system that can carry you from here to there. So the kid can draw anything or build anything out of that. He might build wings, he might build an aeroplane. So that gives him the freedom to develop that kind of thinking that we want them to learn. So the second thing I would ask is, do not instruct them or micromanage them just give them a task and let them be, let them fail, let them try, let them figure out stuff on their own. So expose them to uncertainty. And I'll tell you why you should do this right now, because once they are after graduates, after university, they go to the real world, they are faced with uncertainty, and that comes with a very high cost, and they will be faced with that for the very first time, and there will be chances of them failing to be really very high. So now when you can shield them from something that is really bad, you can still expose them slowly to uncertainty and ask them to navigate their way through the chaos and see how do they do that. It's again a skill, and it's going to come with practice. So stop giving instructions to kids. And you think that you must be doing, I mean, if someone told me this, I would think that no, I'm not that kind of a parent, or I'm not that kind of a person. But if you can just keep your eyes open, you will see that, you know, there is a kid that stays nearby our house, and whenever he tries, he's like 3 years old, and whenever he tries to talk to us and he stumbles or he does not find a word, his mom always prompts the words to him. So why is this this fear in all of us that the kid will fail? So let him fail, let him figure out. Do not give him instructions to what to do. So that's the second thing. Third is, in your household, make failure acceptable, make trying new things acceptable. Do not focus on focus. That is one thing that I would like to tell you, that we are not living in industrial era. The education or the focus kind of thing was built for that era, जहाँ पे सबको सिर्फ एक स्पेशलाइज्ड टास्क करना था और एक टास्क का दूसरे टास्क से कोई लेना देना नहीं था. Now the times have changed, but the education still has remained in the same era. So do not focus on focus. Let them try things. Let them, like I hear moms complaining, आज उसे बास्केटबॉल जाना है, कल उसे पियानो लेसन जाना है, वो कोई भी चीज़ ढंग से नहीं करता है. Let him try 100 things and know that what 99 things the kid does not like. Then only he'll be able to tell that, you know, I like this and I do not like these 99 things. So let him come to that choice by himself. And yeah, I encourage them to question the authority. In your households, do not make rules. Make rules by involving them in the rule making process, so that they know what is the reason behind that rule, forming that rule, and why we are doing what we are doing. And when he breaks that rule, he feels a sense of guilt because he was part of the rule making committee. So whenever you ask your kids to do anything, do not say that because I said so, or because I say so you have to do that. Rules have to be made as a family and respect their opinion equally. So these are the 4-5 things I would think that be useful for parents as well as teachers. Yeah. And failing is all right. Yeah, I mean, क्या जो बहुत बचपन में फेल होते थे उन्होंने क्या उखाड़ लिया? मतलब जो फेल नहीं होते थे, जिन्होंने बहुत हमेशा ही बहुत अच्छे बच्चे बन के रहे, उन्होंने जाके कौन सा वो बहुत अलग हो गए बाकी बच्चों से. उल्टा जो बाकी सारे बच्चे फेल होते रहे, उनको लाइफ में इफ़ यू हैप्पीनेस इंडेक्स अगर कैलकुलेट करोगे, तो आई थिंक दोज हु से दैट यार मैंने सब करके देख लिया जो करना था, दोज आर हैप्पियर दैन द पीपल दैट दोज वर लाइक रियली फोकस्ड ऑन वन थिंग दैट देयर पेरेंट्स आस्क्ड देम टू बी focused on. So that's that. What is design thinking? स्वप्नील यशवंत खडसे सर, तुम्ही कसं विचारून चालेल आम्हाला डिझाईन थिंकिंग म्हणजे काय? Design thinking is bringing creativity and systems thinking together to find new solutions to existing problems. So this is a discipline that combines creativity and systems thinking. Xerxes is saying, rightly said, I as a parent do the same with my child, open-ended questions to a child and tell them to think of all possible causes, solutions. Yeah, and small things. Yeah, Smita has asked a question. Let me just complete what I was trying to say because I'll forget that, and then I'll come to Smita's question. Like ये तो सारी बड़ी बड़ी बातें हो गई. Whenever I go to a lecture, I feel like कि ओके ये सब सुन लिया, ठीक है, ठीक भी लगा, बट घर जाके मैं क्या करूँ? सो घर जाके करने वाली चीज़ें यही है कि बच्चों को फोर्स मत करो कोई भी चीज़ करने के लिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल समवन आस्क्ड माई फादर अबाउट बच्चों ने पढ़ना कैसे शुरू किया, आपके बच्चे जो बुक्स पढ़ते हैं तो उन्होंने पढ़ना कैसे शुरू किया. ही सेड दैट कोई नहीं, हंड्रेड्स ऑफ बुक्स उनके आसपास रहते थे, 1 साल 2 साल 3 साल 4 साल, कभी ना कभी तो क्यूरियोसिटी से दे ट्राई एंड सी कि ये क्या है. सो दीज आर द वेज दैट यू कैन start doing that. Do stuff with kids like to be treated as equals. So try new things with them, go out, play with them, and do not bring the kids versions of the play or the toy home, because most of the toys are stupid, and just because those have cartoons on the face or on the box does not make it interesting for kids. Kids need more intellectual stimulation than what we expect. So just make them part of your daily life. Whatever your decision making stuff is, whatever you're doing, whatever the small things. If you see a kid of 4 to 5 years is always interested in helping you out, we always say that ये अभी एज का आपका कोई काम नहीं है, you are not supposed to do that. And then हम जब टीवी पे रियलिटी शोज में सिंगर्स देखते हैं बच्चे जो 4-5 साल के डांसर्स होते हैं, then we wonder how do they do that. What they are doing a adult's job very nicely, and we are praising them. When your kid asks that if he can do that or not, you ask him not to do that. So just involve them in whatever you're doing, and if they fail, let them do stuff. That would be my first thing. Second thing, as an individual, if you are asking me about how to learn about these skills, I would say there are very many open courses about critical thinking and design thinking. So go on Coursera. That is a very, very good site to teach you or to take you step by step through this process of figuring out how to think. So that is that. Third thing is I don't know, expose yourself to more and more experiences, like different experiences, watching movies that you would not otherwise watch, because we always have a confirmation bias that we always keep doing things that we agree to. So we'll always buy books that are in line with our thought process. We'll always watch movies that are in line with our thought process. So try going beyond that. Try doing stuff that you otherwise would not do, that would expose you to alternate perspectives to look at the things. So this is just the starting point. Yeah. Smita is asking, what about lazy kids who need a push from parents to try out various things? Some kids may not want to try anything new. Yeah. So in that case, that's what I was telling you about. As a family, plan things. As a family, plan, okay, आज ये हमारा hiking वाला दिन है, आज ये हम सब करने वाले हैं. So that way they have to be like, it's not their task. They do not feel that ये हमारा order है. It's like a rule. तो वो rule को वो generally मान लेते हैं कि ये सबको करना होता है. So go swimming, whatever you want to do, you do it with them as a family, so that he does not feel like मैं बच्चा हूँ इसलिए मुझे ये करने के लिए बोलते. That's what my solution would be, because I don't have kids, but that's how I would think if I was a kid. Yeah. And if you want kids to read, then you can't say that बच्चों पढ़ो. तो आपको like there should be atmosphere like that in the house, that after 9 o'clock you okay TV देख के हो गया. And TV, please understand this, TV, tablets, everything, in my opinion, is just change of medium. It is what you need to look at is what your kid is doing on that. It is not a bad thing. Mediums are going to keep changing. You can't do anything about that. So stop whining and complaining about your kid is watching TV or your kid is on the tablet. But what you do, that you have to do together. For example, you watch movie together, and then after 9 o'clock it's time for reading. So all of you sit together, and then you read your own thing, your kid reads your own thing. So once he sees that it is part of the culture, then only he will internalize it. Otherwise he will do it whenever you are just in front of him, and then he will not do it. So that is a very bad way to go about that. He is just going to do it just out of either respect or fear. How do adults remove bias when it comes to taking decisions, especially with regards to transferring bias to children? Okay, one thing I would like to tell you is, difference between fallacies and bias. Fallacies is something, a mistake that logical reasoning में आप जो mistake कर रहे हैं, जो correct की जा सकती है, जो मैं आपको अगर बताती हूँ कि तेरा logic यहाँ गलत हुआ, you can see that and you can correct that. And if you learn about logical fallacies, you will be trained, like if you practice that, you will be trained to avoid those thinking traps. But biases are more deep rooted. Biases are not something that you can change. For example, bias about a certain community, bias about a certain religion, these are so deep rooted, and they might have their n reasons because of that the bias is formed, but you can only be aware of the bias. So when I'm aware of the bias, what I can do is ask for another opinion. I mean, जब मुझे पता है कि say I'm against a particular group, and when I have to make a decision based on should I do this or not, so ask 2, 3, 4, 5 different opinions about that and try to trust those opinions rather than going ahead with your own solution, because you know that there is inherent bias in that. And for kids, it is, I think, depriving them of the freedom to choose when you transfer the bias to the kids. So it's again, to do that you have to be able to understand, क्योंकि लोगों को लगता है कि मैं अपने बच्चे को अच्छा ही सिखा रहा हूँ. जब उन्हें पता चलेगा कि ये बायस है, तभी वो अवेयर होंगे कि मे बी मेरे बच्चे को ये बायस ना होता, इसलिए मैं कोई स्टेप्स लूँ. सो फर्स्ट थिंग वुड बी टू बी अवेयर ऑफ योर बायसेस, एंड दैट यू कैन डू ओनली बाय थिंकिंग अबाउट थिंकिंग. वाई डू आई थिंक दैट? हम तो ईजिली बोल देते अरे ये वहाँ वाले लोग होंगे, उन्होंने ऐसे कर लिया होगा, ये यहाँ वाले लोग होंगे. तो वेन यू हैव दैट थॉट, ट्राई टू टेक अ स्टेप बैक एंड थिंक अबाउट लाइक वाई am I doing this? Is it based on thoughts or just
yes,
my
the
bias?
medium can be regulated.
So once you are aware of that, you
then only you will try not transfer.
हमें कुछ ज़्यादा ही डर लगता है कि क्या बच्चे उसका मिसयूज करेंगे तो क्या होगा. And kids have the basic or inherent judgment of right and wrong. I have heard parents saying that हमारा बच्चा शिनचान देख के बिगड़ गया है. ये तुम्हारा बच्चा पहले से ही था बिगड़ा हुआ, शिनचान देख के वो बिगड़ा हुआ नहीं है. या फिर लोग टीवी में देख के रेप कल्चर बढ़ गया है. व्हाट स्टूपिड आइडियाज आर दीज. सो उनको राइट और रॉन्ग के बारे में सिखाने का तरीका ये नहीं है कि तुम जो सामने दिख रहा है वो कंट्रोल करो. दैट इज मोर डीप रूटेड देन दैट. एंड वंस द compass of right and wrong is very firm and very right, you don't need to worry about what they come across. They might make like 20% of the times mistakes, but that is still okay. 80% of the times when it comes to major decisions of life, you can trust them to do the right thing. So I think that's that. And medium needs to be controlled in the initial years. Yes, there's this. Later you don't even need to worry about that. They will themselves understand that if I see people reading Mills and Boons till the year of 20 years, and I'm like, you have wasted thousands of hours of your life reading something really stupid, and one kid instead of that reads something really substantial. How does that happen? Once he knows that this is not worth my time, he sees the thinking process behind that, he is able to see for himself what is wasteful and what is not. So initial years medium can be regulated, but later you won't need even that. Yeah. Yes, it is like brainwashing. Zosis is saying that I would say constant bias transfer of opinion is more like brainwashing. Yes, because kids look up to you, and when they are not in a position to understand that what my father says could be wrong, and you are asking him to do that, those beliefs become so deeply ingrained in their brains that they are not able to understand that it is a bias when they grow up. They will think that that's a fact and that's how the world is. Yeah. So, do you have any more questions or should we close? I know someone reading. No, I don't have anything against Mills and Boons. All I'm saying is that you would be able to go beyond that and see is it adding something to your life or not. Creative and positive bias. Can you please, Ajit Mama, can you please ask me, तो थोड़ा सा elaborate करेंगे so that I can answer. Oh, Ajit Mama is saying no, he cannot elaborate. So, okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Positive bias. Please ask, elaborate a little bit so that I can answer. Or bias, there are so many historic examples of biases that people did not know that it was a bias. Slavery was perfectly all right because people thought that that's how it is supposed to be, and when they realized that it is a bias, and again it came from that evolutionary brain of ours कि जो भी हमारे जैसा नहीं है, treat that as something threat, as a threat. For example, जब हम hunter gatherers थे, तो some group that does not look like you had to be fearful of that thing, right? So that is still in us, and that is why people who do not look like us are treated differently, and that is what the common thread behind immigration, behind slavery, behind racism. You can see all of those issues have a common thread. And then it is not because we are evil people, it is just that जब ये brain develop हमारा तब नहीं हुआ था, तो हम अलग अलग लोग एक साथ रह भी नहीं रहे थे, ये सिर्फ पिछले कुछ सालों में हुआ है. सो हम इतने सारे डाइवर्सिटी को पहली बार ही फेस कर रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए वो बायस को ओवरकम करने के लिए हमें कॉन्शियसली एफर्ट करना पड़ेगा. सो Charanjit, I am asking you if there are no more questions, can we close this session, please? Or if you have any questions, I'll just stay for 1 minute more. And if you guys are interested, I can post links about fallacies and biases, very interesting stuff, or recommendation for books on the page if you need it. CD? I think we should call it a day. Chalo, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, either message me on Facebook or write on anything. A biased view may just evolve as a right thing and vice versa. Just as you mentioned about slavery, what was good years back is a bias today. Yes, and that is what that brings me to a very important point. हिटलर के भी बहुत सारे फॉलोअर्स थे. ओके, जब हम छोटे थे कुछ साल पहले, बच्चों को मारना वाज कंसिडर एज अ वाइड स्प्रेड और अच्छी बात मानी जाती थी, क्योंकि वो तभी अच्छे बच्चे बनेंगे. सो तब किसी का इंटेंशन बुरा नहीं था, बट टू मेक श्योर दैट यू डू नॉट लैंड अप ऑन द रॉन्ग साइड ऑफ द हिस्ट्री, यू हैव टू be conscious right now, and unintentionally you do not want to be on that side, so you need to think critically, you need to think about your thinking process. That's the only way you can not be embarrassed in front of your grandsons or your sons that you were on the wrong side of the history. That's what I would say. Is it necessary to remove bias? No, mama, it is not necessary to remove bias, and you cannot remove a bias. It is just that you need to understand that whenever you are making a decision about that particular thing about which you are biased, you will not necessarily land up at an answer which is objectively correct. So that's all. It might work, it might be a working solution for now, but it is not. I mean, एक solution पे हम फ्लूक से आ सकते हैं या फिर सोच के आ सकते हैं. फ्लूक से हमारे 10 में से 1-2 आएंगे ना, ठीक, सब सारे के सारे तो नहीं आएंगे. सो क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग इज ऑलवेज, और अंडरस्टैंडिंग द बायसेस इज ऑलवेज अ गुड आइडिया दैट मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस यू गेट राइट इन लाइफ. ओके, चलो, थैंक यू. तो इफ देर आर नो मोर क्वेश्चंस, I think I'll leave. CD, bye.